Okay, so right here, you've got a short trend coming down. We're on NQ room chart. You got a short trend coming down and it stops. And it's 45.01. Everybody see that? Okay, it pulls back and it comes down, and this time it went a little more. In our short trend, it went a little more with less volume, 1898, right? This is ODD because in a trend it
Potential
went
Lorex on
farther,
RTY.
less volume. This, if it had a TX, it would be good to go long. That's your ODD right there. It went, the price went farther down because it's in a short trend. We're pretending it's in a short trend. So the price went farther down with less volume than the last time it went short. It went short on 45.01. Then it retraces and comes back down, and you compare it to 1898 and 1898, which is less than half. At it, okay, it came down 45.01, retraced, it went further down on less volume, 1898. You see that? It's only 42% of what the last one was. So that's ODD. If it had a TX on this bar, you're going long. That's a reversal. This number is from the oscillation detector, 1898. So it's oscillation detector divergence. It went farther and the volume was less. It's kind of the same as big hill, littler hill, because it went further down. This was, 45.01, and this visualization down here, it's a big hill. It goes further and the hill is smaller. Same thing. It's big hill, little hill when the price went more. Okay, so you had 1898 here, and then you come down, and you come down here more. You're farther by like a tick. And you're 1898 compared to 1392. So technically speaking, that's under 80%, 73%. Okay, so you went further by like a tick or two, literally, and your number was lower, 1898 compared to 1392. So technically, that would be ODD again. So if there was a TX here, you could go long. I personally don't like this because the numbers are too close. I want a bigger one. I want a bigger change in the numbers. I want one to be huge and one to be little. So let's go one more. This next one, it goes up and it comes down and it goes lower. Okay, so we've got another lower one, 2331. Is that ODD? No, it's greater than 80. Exactly. This number, 2331, is bigger than 1392. So it is not ODD, even though it went farther, 167%. So that's too big. We don't want it. It should never be over 80 in order to be ODD. We can look at, it comes down more, and it's 6611. So is this ODD here at 1127.35? Came down more? No. So let's see if we have any places where it would have been HD to get in this short trend. So we're going to pretend here, I'm going to take that right off the charts. So we're going to go from this point, and we're going to pretend it was already in more of a trend. At 1102.14, we're going to say before that it was still going down. So we're just going to pretend this is a trend. Okay? So this pullback got you 1875, this little pullback here. Okay? Don't look at your own chart because you're going to see it's not what I'm pretending it is. Okay? So we had 1875, and then we go short again. we have a pullback, which is 341. This 341 compared to 1875. It did not, the price did not go as high as the previous pullback, but the volume was so much less. For HD, we want the pullback to be less, but the volume to be more. So it's not HD because you're comparing 1875 to 341 on a pullback. We're going to pretend this was just a little pullback here. In reality, it wasn't, but we're going to pretend for education's sake that's a pullback. It went back down to the short, came back, pulled up. It didn't pull up as high as the last pull up, but it had lots less volume. So this would not be an HD to get into. Darn. Number. Okay, so now we pulled back up right here again. So our volume was 930. 930 compared to 341. Well, that's 3 times as much almost, right? So it went, it did not exceed the price of the last pullback. It didn't come up past this level. This is where the last pullback happened. So it stayed lower, which is what we want. The volume was higher. And there's actually a TX here. Is this HD? This is HD because it trended short again. It pulled back, and this pullback had 930 for volume compared to the last pullback was 341. The 930 was bigger volume, but the price did not go past this. Basically, it didn't go past this mini magnet, which is where the last one stopped. Okay, so yes, that's HD. So it even had a TX on that bar right there, so we could even have taken that one. Okay, so now it went down again, and it came back up and chopped around, and here we go. This is the highest point on this pullback before it started going down again. Okay, the first one we looked, did it go higher than the previous pullback? Previous pullback went to here. So no, it did not go higher. Okay, that's good. That could be HD coming. The volume was 1241 compared to 930. So it was bigger volume. The 1214 is bigger than 930. So technically, you know, I hate that word. It was at 131%. What's our magic number for HD? 125. Technically, we had HD. It was 131%. So technically, it was the volume size was there, but there was no TX. There was no Xbox. There was trapped orders. There's the blue, but there was no Xbox. So it was not a trade. It wasn't a setup that we could take because there was no Xbox. That's all it was missing. So personally, I wouldn't touch it because I don't like 131%. I want it bigger. 930 compared to 1214. No, I want it at least doubled. I want it huge, telling me it's really got a big buildup of volume, and that's what I want to take. So I would personally, I wouldn't take it even if it had a TX. Okay, so let's see if there's anything more. Could this be HD? I mean, ODD? 1898, it went a little farther on this short at 73%. Could that be it went farther? Would this be ODD? Yes, with an Xbox, if it had an Xbox, technically, it would have been ODD because it was under 80%. I wouldn't touch it myself. Again, I want a bigger difference. 73% it is technically under 80%. Yep. But I want a much bigger difference than that. I like that the price is really close. Only a tick or two difference. Looks like maybe one tick. Okay, so now let's look. We're going to go back and back and back. We got to retrace because we're still in a short trend. We got to retrace here. And we got 3334 compared to 1214. Is this HD? That is not HD. Exactly, Raymond. It went higher, not lower. Exactly. The price went more than this pullback. You got to compare pullback to pullback. The price went higher this time. It had a lot more volume, but it went higher. So no HD. So forget about it. Then it comes down. It goes a little lower. So now we'd be looking for ODD again, because you're back with the trend going lower. I mean, this trend pretty much is over. It sucks. It's ranging now, but for teaching purposes, we're pretending that we're still in a short. When you got this much changing, you got a little green blip here, you got green here, you're back into the red. That's telling you it's more choppy than it is a range. I mean, a trend. But pretending you're still in a good short trend. Okay, it went farther. Compare this volume to this volume. What do we got? It's more. Right, it's not below
potential
80%,
full Lorex
so
Lorex
it's
on
not
RTY.
ODD. It's just thick. Okay, so now we're gonna watch the pullback. 1599 or 1559, I'm sorry, compared to 334. It did not go as far as the last pullback. It didn't go as far up as the last pullback. So one criteria is true. It did not pull back as far as the last one. And for HD, we need bigger volume. Is this HD? Too light a volume. So you guys are getting this. The volume was lower. Okay, so now we're going to come down. We're going down again. Whoops, I went a little bit too much here. Okay, so now we're back with the trend. We're going down, 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 down. It went, we're talking leading edge here. Okay, so we hit the bottom at this moment with, well, maybe we actually should. No, let's just go here. Let's just assume, well, okay, so it stopped here at 66.11. So it went farther than the last leading volume. It's going short, which is our trend. 23.31 compared to 66.21. Is that ODD? And when we expect a reversal there with ODD, right, correct. The volume needs to be less. It is not ODD. The price cooperated. It went lower, but the volume needs to be lower. For ODD, they both, if it's going short, they both need to be lower, and they're not if it's going short. So you don't have ODD because this is 66.11 is bigger than 23.30. Here is our next pullback. Okay, so we pulled back to here. It is just a little bit lower than the last pullback. So technically we're on HD because it's just a tick or two under the previous pullback. And I can't even see that number. 1559 versus 56.39. It's comparing. It's 3 times bigger. Oh, 3.5 times bigger. So is this HD? Exactly, yes, because it's a lower high. Your reverse, your pullback is lower than this pullback over here, but your volume is much higher. So let's just see where it went to. Nice. Okay, so let's look and see. Since we had another leg here, we have, would this be ODD here, and we could take this as a reversal if we had a TX? Okay, it's a higher low, exactly right. This would not be considered ODD because compared to this one, the price was not as low and the volume was less. Well, the volume we want to be less, but we have to have both things happen. We have to have the price come down farther. So it would have had to go past this paw in order to be ODD on less volume. So this was a whole lot of nothing here. The volume was about half, but you got to have the price go down. So, yeah. Okay, so now let's look here. We're just assuming we're still in a short trend for this teaching purposes. Okay, so we have a pullback. 551 compared to 5639. The price did not pull back higher. So yes, that's true. You have to compare price and volume. Price did not go higher. Volume was too low. Exactly. We're looking at HD when we're on the top of a short. The volume would have been good for ODD, yes, if it would have been, if it would have been in the right place. Yeah. 10% would be absolutely fantastic for ODD. Okay, so down here we're going to assume we're still in a short. We're pretending we're still in a short. So we're going down. So we have 21% for ODD, 496 compared to 2372. Do we have ODD here? Ann and Chris say no. You guys are right. You're correct. Go past the previous. It would have had to go down past here to be ODD. So it would have needed to be down here somewhere at least, and it was way up here. So no. 21%, the number is perfect, but not the price. Okay, so we're going back up. We're going to pretend we're still in a short. At this point, it is not. It is ranging. So these would not actually hold true because you have to be in a trend for either of these. So, but we're going to pretend that we're still going short. And you have this pullback. Is this going to be HDD here? Not a lower high. You're exactly right. It's a higher high than the last pullback. So the volume is good because, well, it's not good enough. It's only one. Well, yes, it is. It's 133. So technically, it has to be over 125. So you do have more volume, but the price went over past the previous pullback, so it would not be HD at all. No, you cannot have a higher high. When you're in a short, we're still pretending we're in a short here. Although technically we are going sideways, so none of this would matter. But okay, so we get down to here, and we've gone further than the previous pullback. I mean, than the previous price, not pullback. We're pretending we're still short. So if we were still going short, this went to be a lower low. Yes, we got that price part right. Now, if you look at ODD, this one's more. than this one. So ODD has to be less. It is not. Volume is wrong. You're exactly right. So I think now it's, I was just going to say, I think now it's really hard to pretend we're still in a trend, but now it just finally did go down a little bit. Okay, so let's look to see if this would have been, assuming we're still in a short trend. We're going to just pretend we are for a minute. Okay. So we have a pullback. It's lower than the previous pullback, so the price is right. Okay, now is the volume 1268 compared to 1616? Is it HD? Not enough volume. Exactly right. Not greater than 125. Exactly right. Okay, so now we're going to go back down, and we actually in a little bit of a short again. Okay. So now we're comparing. Let's get those numbers out of the lines there. Okay. So now we're comparing. We went down further. We went past the previous price, so yay, price cooperated. What about the volume? Do we have ODD here if we were still going short? Volume too high, exactly right. For ODD, the volume percent has to be under 80, and it's not. Some of you are getting this at least. Those of you who are brave enough to comment are getting it, so good job there. So if we went back up on a retrace, what's this? This is price-wise a lower low. Price is okay. We got it. For HD, 132%, 1680 versus 1268. Is this valid HD? It is. Very good. Just barely. Just barely. Why would, okay, a lot of you will say, would you take this? Would you take this? What's one reason? Can anybody tell me one reason why I personally would like this one? No obstacles. That's number one. Absolutely no obstacles. Like when the cluster is in the TX. I like those. I've gotten to where when I see that color combo, red, blue, yellow, I love that when they're all together. So I actually would like this one a little bit better than if it didn't have the cluster. I like when there's a cluster. Now I took these icons off. I don't even have these in mine anymore. I don't care about those. But yeah, and I like that the numbers are orange, because if they're orange, that means it's really close, and I like it when they're close. But I would have preferred to have the volume be a lot more. What about the previous two clusters? The previous two clusters are actually within this bar. So once your entry is right here at the bottom of this bar, at the close of the bar, therefore you're leaving all that chop alone. That's all behind you. And you're going forward. You're at the bottom of the chop box, hopefully breaking out of it, but you're continuing in the trend, if there was. Okay, so let's see if we can get any more of these in. This is sideways. I would not consider this a short trend, but we're pretending we're still in a short trend. Okay, so we do not go as far. Okay, so right there, price does not cooperate. Volume is more, but it didn't cooperate. For ODD, it's got to be less than 80. That didn't cooperate. So this would be a whole lot of nothing. Where's in here? So we reverse. So we don't count this in HD because there's no numbers. So we compare this to the previous number, and we're higher. We're 128. So it's higher than the 1680, and the price did not exceed that level. it stayed underneath it. Is this HD? If it had a TX, is this HD? And agreed on this. This is HD, but just barely, because you want it to be, what's our 125? It's 128. So there's that word. Technically, it is HD. I wouldn't want to touch it even if it had, it has to have a TX in order to take it. Personally, I wouldn't like it because, it did go a ways. I would have missed out. But it is, technically, it is good. You could take it. Lane 2, you could take it. Let's go down one more. We're going down back in the direction of the trend. 1204 compared to 2136. Would this be ODD? It's below 80. The price went lower. So you're good to go. And since this is not a real trend, it's kind of barely edging down, but yeah. Look at these. If you're wondering, look at all the red, green, red, green, red, green. That's not a trend. That's for these purposes. That's not a trend. Okay, so now we've got 515 compared to 695. Not enough of the volumes too low for HD. Going back in the direction, we've got, let's see, 1380 compared to 1186. Is this OD? ODD. It went further. Price cooperated. No, it's not, because the volume did not cooperate. It has to be under 80. Okay, so we come back up. The price exceeded this last pullback, so that knocks HD out of the running. And so here we are. We are back with current price.